Hello, welcome. It is July the 6th, and if you're in the USA, happy post 250. However that feels for you, looks for you. I hope you're not stuck in an airport somewhere. I know a lot of people are. If you are, maybe this will make you smile. I know my daughter lives in North Carolina, so I've been through her watching the heat wave that just smacked y'all, east of the Mississippi essentially for the last, couple of weeks, really. I'm here in California where I'm happy to say here in Fresno, we have stayed below 100 degrees. Like, no, we're 98, but we're not over 100. And I'm like, that is something to celebrate. Now, I do see we're peaking into the low 100s later this week, but I'm holding on to it for as long as I can. I am joined today. It's a come as you are, folks. I've got my friend Lisa McCourt, Kira Hartley Klinger, and Spetty Rue joining us from throughout the world, literally, on this Come As You Are Monday. We've had a very lively conversation to kick us off. I think in so many ways, this is really the heart of the summer here in the US for sure, where people's vacations are kicking in. You're planning and heading out and going to places and doing things, or sometimes just trying to take a rest. And so I think you're having family gatherings. I mean, Kira's gearing up for a big one this week with her family. I spent time with family over the weekend. We were planning more gatherings for throughout the summer. Lisa's enjoying a new spot that she's moved to and getting to know what that's like. Spetty's got a new exciting resource that she's getting ready for us soon. So we have a lot of activity and energy going on this morning. So welcome to you all as you join us on this Come As You Are. Lisa, we're going to start with you. How are you today, my beautiful friend?
Oh, I am just so excited to be where I am. I'm in the beautiful Hudson Valley of New York, which has been something my husband and I have been working toward getting firmly here for a while now, and just loving it. And I just wanted to tag on to what we were talking about briefly, when we opened with the mixed feelings across the country about the 250 celebration. The best thing that I read, and I did see a lot of well-articulated thoughts on this, was by Senator Michael Garrett of North Carolina. He wrote a beautiful, beautiful piece. Go find it. It was about how the founders who gathered on that hot day to write this piece that we have all tried to live by for all these years, how they stretched beyond themselves to come up with that line that all people are created equal, knowing that they were slaveholders, knowing that women were nowhere close to equal in their communities and their world, and there were racial tensions and huge financial discrepancies. And yet they wrote that line in there as a blueprint for us to try to, generation by generation, close that gap and come closer to it. And how historically there have been so many 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and such a push-pull in trying to close that gap. And yet, if we look at the big picture, we have moved in that direction. And I just thought it was so beautiful and so poetic that they didn't write, this is going to be a perfect union, but in order to form a more perfect union. And that is just what the goal still is, and what we can all still get on board the team with. It was just like really beautiful. I encourage you to read it.
Oh, I'm going to take a look at that. And my daughter's in North Carolina, so I wonder if she knows about that. She's we were talking, she's got a lot of opinions about things that are going on there right now. So she works for NAMI, and NAMI is very tied into, it's a national mental health resource organization. It's one of the top 5 well-established nonprofits here in the country. And she works for the local county's chapter of that as their community engagement coordinator. So she's also very plugged into what's happening in policy wise, because it always seems to impact the work she's doing in terms of people's mental health and having the resources they need in all the communities and all the places, and the places where there's discrepancies in that. And they have a lot of grants that they do to help people try to get the scales tipped in the right directions. And so that's really helpful. How's the move? Like, you feeling more settled?
A bit more settled. We moved by pod. There are different ways to move. Somehow we decided pod was So we are here and our pods are not. So we're kind of on like bare minimum, still kind of camping out in and we're in a temporary condo while we're building a house. So everything is not settled, I would say, but we've made
Yeah.
beautiful friends. There's such community here. It was so easy to become part of the community. And we went to parties on the 4th of July, and that part has all just felt absolutely perfect. The vibe here is the vibe that I have longed for a very long time. So
Oh, I love that. Hudson Valley's lovely. It really is. We lived on Long Island for a couple of years, and we would take drives and just do hikes up there just to kind of get out of the city and get out of the, we were in Nassau County, which is very tightly packed. And I love New York City. Don't get me wrong. Like, going into the city on the weekends was like my favorite thing to do. And also sometimes just getting up to the peace and tranquility. And there's such lovely little towns along there, very quaint. Yeah, it really is a cool part of the country. All right. Kira, gearing up. You're getting ready. You are in your own beautiful piece of land and space that you get to share with others. It's really became such a place of tranquility for you, but also was a place when you initially you weren't sure about. Like, it was a big transition because you and I talked about this, and there's going to be an incredible podcast episode coming out in a few weeks with Kira and her story. But she got really, we were talking about before we came on, all of these people that are with me today have this really unique story of coming home to themselves. And Kira's transition to this place where she was now was asking her to leave the place where she'd finally come home to herself and trust that this would be a continuation of that. And it has been fruitful times 1,000 in that way, but also the courage to make that move. Because when you finally find that place and space, whether it's a space you live in or a space you trust or a place you are in your body, within that, you're like, why would I let go of this? And also there's this possible promise here of something more. Can I trust that and trust myself? And she did. And now it's created this opportunity to do these amazing things that she gets to do with her family. But I always reflect on that, Kira, that there's these moments in our lives, and you all three have them. And listen to all of these, Sveti and Lisa's podcast episodes are already on our website. So go check those out, and you'll get curious soon to hear their stories of where they came to that turning point. I just think about, as you go into this week today and realize what's possible now, and when on the courage of that decision that you made.
Yeah, I mean, I was 44 when I decided to move away from my serenity, the place that saved me after my divorce. All I can say is that my second husband showed up in bike leathers and a Harley Davidson in his photos, and that's what got me dating him. And so here we are.
Everybody has a type.
But no, I trusted in it, and I made the leap, and we moved into this fixer-upper out here in rural Ohio. And to come full circle on that 250 that we've been talking about, it's kind of interesting. I did a podcast interview with a guy that was 26 in Nigeria. Oh, and wow. We were talking about what I do, because I buy and sell. So I'm always looking at antiques and things like that. And he was fascinated. He's like, the oldest thing, I was talking about my 1956 Frigidaire Imperial stove. That's mine, that I use, that I adore. It's my baby, And he's like, wow. He's like, I don't think I've ever seen anything older than like a black and white TV. And it was just incredible to me, because I'm like, geez, the house that I live in is from the 1800s. And he said that's crazy. It was just a foreign concept to him. And so we got into this conversation later on about the things that we want from this life. And the word that came out of his mouth was freedom. And, he had a lot of things linked to that word. But yeah, to hear, because... So yes, we are a rowdy, unruly, ill-mannered teenager right now. But at least for the most part, we have our freedom. So anyway, it was an interesting conversation that I had with him. But yes, I am definitely coming as I am today. I'm in my cleaning clothes. Today is my day of, I guess, denial that the week is going to go by really fast. Today's the day where I am sorting children's books for, oh, well, they've outgrown these. Well, we don't need these. Well, we don't need that. And I should be cleaning bedrooms and making beds. So by the time Friday comes, I'll be rationalizing that the kids don't really care if the bathtub's clean, because that's just
they don't.
I get, it's like, oh my God, company's coming. And it doesn't matter that they're 8 children. I feel like I have to wash floors and sweep down cobwebs. And, our house has been in renovation since we bought it 14 years ago. And upstairs is all done except for one room that will someday be a bathroom. Right now it's a tool room for the other rooms we've been working on. And the front room is nothing but drywall. And I'm convinced that I'm going to get the first layer of mud put on that room before the kids come. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. I'll be damned.
It's your Jim Morrison shirt's going to inspire you.
I get a message from one of the 8-year-olds, because we have 3 6-year-olds, 3 8-year-olds, an 11-year-old, and a 14-year-old this year. So we've been doing camp for 12 years. And I got a message from the 8-year-old last night. Is the upstairs bathroom done yet? Because we managed with one bathroom. And it was like, wow. Laughing emoji, crying emoji. Nope. I said, I wish. She's like, yeah, me too. I'm like, yeah, because you're hurting, kid. You're hurting from that lack of a second bathroom that you don't get to have for 7 days a year. Meanwhile, we're coming downstairs in our 50s every night, at least twice, to go to the bathroom. So it's like, I don't want to hear that you're disappointed that the second bathroom's not done. So here we are.
But I love what you said, though. I love what you said, though, about we as women, we will blitz around the house for these things. We do it before people come for the holidays. And other than making sure the toilet's clean, why am I spending time scrubbing this kitchen that's just going to get annihilated over the next 3 or 4 days? I know. It's those expectations, man. Those expectations we put on ourselves that really nobody else gives a flying flip about. But
no,
we've decided.
I was off the hook today, but my best friend helped me with that. So 3 of the grandchildren, they come frequently, probably once a month. They'll come for a long weekend. And so they have slept on those sheets in the 3 beds. Those sheets have been slept on, mostly on top of, only twice. And so I said to my friend, I said, do I really have to wash those sheets? I mean, they were clean. They got a bath before they went to bed. They slept on top. I mean, she's like, no. I'm like, good. So I did not do that. I did not wash sheets. But
I use that rule too. Because we have kind of where we live now. It's kind of the same people that come because they're the ones that live close enough to come. So I would look at the middle bedroom and we're like, okay, my sister-in-law and her wife are coming. They're the ones that last slept in there. They only slept in there for one night.
Right.
We're all right.
Yeah.
We're all right. Going,
sure brush off the dead beetle bugs, whatever, because we get those stupid things that are pretending to be ladybugs. They get in the windows somehow. Brush them off.
They do, especially where you are. We had those so much. We lived in a house in Chicago that was 120 years old. And boy, those things find their way into the windows sills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay. So Kira's off and running. I was honestly shocked to see that she could join today. I'm like, I know this. I'm like, when I sent the invitation, I'm like, oh gosh, it's grandkid camp week. There's no way. And then she said, yes, this is gonna be fun. It's denial day. Oh my gosh. All right,
I got a weekday.
They're not really coming tomorrow day. No. Oh my gosh. Spenny, how are you?
I should get off mute though before I start talking. Okay. Yes. So I'm in Budapest. I'm in Hungary right now, and I celebrated the Independence Day USA by hiking doing like a night hike with a bunch of strangers, kind of meeting them through a meetup group. Yeah, meetup it's pretty big in Europe, but I think it's pretty big in the US too. So meetup.com, and I joined these people, and I didn't realize that I was missing being in the States for the 4th of July until I think I just talked this poor woman's off, I just kept talking about the US the whole hike up. And I was just like, and the US this, and then there's fireworks and this and this. And so I was, it was so funny because she was just listening and she was asking really great questions. So she's Hungarian, she's local. And so she was curious about how we celebrate Independence Day. And I was like, oh, I missed the fireworks. It's the big birthday. Like, and I was just kind of reminiscing. And she asked, which parts did I miss the most? So I think when you travel, when you start living an extended period of time outside of the States, and then there are these huge holidays that happen, and you're a bit like, 4th of July and Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving, hands down, my favorite American holiday. And just you kind of get this nostalgia, and then you start really appreciating what the US culture is about. And for me, I don't know why I said this, but like it popped up right away is the optimism that we have. Like even though things are going crazy and things are there's so much uncertainty, and obviously politically it's a pardon my French, but a shit show. And and so, but there's still that mentality that I haven't really seen and I've traveled, I've been to 44 different countries. It's still embedded in us to have this just optimism about the future, and just like the possibility that we can do things, that we can achieve dreams, that we can reach our goals. So I think it's definitely something that we're taking for granted when we live in the US. But then once you take yourself out of it, and then you kind of start talking about all the things that are positive, and I found myself saying that. I was like, I miss the mindset, like just get it done. Like we can do it. Like let's all huddle together, and there's a broke down car. We'll fix it. It's fine. Yeah. So something about that it was just it was nostalgia that I was experiencing over the weekend.
Yeah, I think it's you hit it. It's that hope, because I to kind of set the table here, I started up the conversation talking about my complex relationship with the 250 and the fact that yes, we're celebrating that we're still standing, that we're still a republic, and also really a desire for the truth telling to happen within all of that. Yes, that's true. And also, let's be honest about our history and how we got started by taking out a Native people and enslaving Black people to build this country. Let's talk about the truth about that and the damage it's done, and the fact that women, you didn't have a right to vote. Well, if you were a white woman, it was in the early 1900s. If you were a woman of color, it wasn't really till the 1960s. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm like, I just want us to be truth tellers about it. And also, because of the fact that I was born here, there's this mentality that Sveti's talking about. Of course we can do this. Of course we can improve it. Of course we can change it. Like, nonsensical to think any other thing. Of course we can, we can't right the wrongs, but we certainly can have reparations in place that restore and acknowledge. And I think that's a really good point, that when you come around and travel throughout the world, there isn't that same necessarily ideal everywhere of, yes, this is possible and it should be possible. And I think that's what keeps us going. That's what keeps conversations going. That's what keeps these. And, your Sveti shared an example of a friend she has that shared this really idea. And Kira referred to it earlier, that she's like, if you think about it, at 250 compared to the rest of the world, America is in their teenage phase. And I'm like, we definitely are the angsty teenager right now. So continuing, when you go around the world, I every time I travel internationally, I'm like stunned by how much older things are. And Betty was talking about how, where she was born at, things are were founded in 600 to 800, AD, not 1776. I mean, it's just the stark change in that. So I think too, the complexities and nuance of it all. But yeah, I do think it's that hope that keeps us going, that makes it so we are able to continue to be around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that, and I'm cherishing it more as I'm traveling, and I have a I guess more comparison to compare it to, because sometimes it's hard. It's hard to value something when that's all you've known all your life.
It's the status
and
quo for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you were saying, like you're just used to it. Like no, there's no other option. We're optimistic. That's the option, and that's it. Yeah. And then, but when you compare it with other countries and other mentalities, and when I now I'm doing more of a slow travel where I'm in Budapest for 3 months, and I'm getting a bit more embedded into the culture, and I'm meeting more locals, and so you get a better sense about those type of things, the mentality and the culture, not just kind of surface level when you're traveling for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of I was like, ooh, I'm seeing it a little bit more in a nicer light. So yeah, it's cool.
Wow. Okay, all right. So we've made it around the square here. Lisa, any thoughts or questions for Sveti or Kira?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this in my joy school, how sometimes you need contrast in order to pay attention to something, and as much as the clearly obvious shit show that Sveti referenced, there's just so much when we hang on to the optimism, which I think is waning a lot in our country for a lot of people. I get that that's the American way to be optimistic, but it's like become more of a chore, I think, to hang on to that optimism as you see things slipping so horrifically backwards. But to just really appreciate the contrast, that all of the bigotry and phobias, homophobia, transphobia, all the things were obviously embedded in our culture, just waiting for a leader to greenlight them. And we can't do anything about an issue until it is brought up to the light. So in a way, that's how we try to approach the optimist, is just like, yes, this is absolutely horrible, but thank goodness it's being brought up into the light, because that's where we can address it. That's where we can heal it. So I wanted to commend that observation, Sveti. And I guess just like how do you all, I mean, I think we're all in a sense like here as sort of fixers, bringers of the light, bringers of what we have decided our little flavor of making the world a better place is, right? Like I can tell that we're all sort of driven by that passion. It's almost like when I pull back to what I know to be like the highest spiritual perspective, we're meant to be appreciating duality. Like, what if this whole plane of existence is about duality, and we couldn't have this fulfilling life of bringing the light if there weren't those creating the darkness? And like, how do you approach that within your own like wheels of expertise? Because I know we're all coming from sort of different backgrounds with that.
All right. Who wants to?
I know. I'm going to sit on that one here a second.
Okay. Sveti, any thoughts?
So when you say duality, help me understand that a little bit better. Go ahead.
Going back to the framers of the Constitution, this whole idea that we're all created equal and we're going to create this more perfect union. It feels like there's been the little bit toward, little bit back, little bit toward, sometimes a big lot back, like right now. And is that the game that big picture spiritually we're here to play? Like it goes back to the thing about like, who would read a book or pay to watch a movie where nothing bad happened? It would be the most boring thing in the world. So like, we're all sort of working toward this envisioned utopia that what if that's just not ever meant to be the case on this plane? Can we appreciate that we're here to bring the yin to the yang, or the yang to the yin? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I understand now a little bit better. And I say that it's necessary for growth. And what do I mean by that? It's for me, I think I had to experience my own burnout and my own sort of this lowest point and this desperation in order to grow from it, in order to bloom again, in order to find the right pathways for myself, find that alignment for the rest of my life. And I needed that, like that push and that challenge and that resistance, if you'd say. I think it's all part of that not like game, but the overall plan, so that we can grow and we can continue to build on top of on our foundations. And so it's necessary. I think it's necessary to have both of these. I think some things are a bit too much, so you don't need that much resistance. Mm-hmm. Like when things are going really, down and down and down, you just keep going, like, okay, like where's the balance in this? And so you're not seeing the overall, like you're kind of not seeing the light sometimes, and you're like, why am I having to suffer so much for so long without any positivity? But then somehow you kind of keep going, just waking up and just taking those small steps, and then the light starts to peep through and it starts to come through, and then that's the beautiful balance that I think is happening.
Yeah. Okay, Kira, hold on. Before we go to you, we've got a listener here that said, she said, for me, it's not about optimism. It's holding a vision of the country we want, not just focusing on and pushing against and hating stuff. I love that line at the Silver Nightingale. Thank you for commenting on it's holding a vision of the country we want. I think that's a great motivator of like keeping that out front of you, because I talk about all the time, we got to feel all the emotions, we got to let them move through, we got to feel the anger, the sadness, the frustration, to make room for the joy and contentment and hope that we need. We got to allow space for all of that. And for me, it's such a reminder is I really bring the sense of freedom always back home to it starts with you doing the work of owning and believing in who you are, acknowledging all the bumps and bruises, accepting and embracing all the layers and pieces and parts that make up who you are, that then allow you to function from your healthiest, authentic self. When you know yourself well and you value who you are, and you don't hold yourself hostage to those things that don't go well, and you're able to embrace them, accept them, acknowledge them. You don't have to love them, but just an acceptance of that. Then we prioritize what we value, and we value, and we make sure that we're filling our life with activities that nourish us, to fill our cup, so we're fully resourced for whatever it is we feel in alignment to do. We're setting the healthy boundaries. We're having the hard conversations. We're living from a place of our values instead of societal expectations. And that creates that inner individual freedom that then enables us to do the bigger work of sharing that message with others. But it just reminds me that the thing I can do is remind, and I work with women, but I was talking to a friend the other day. He was actually taking a look at our website, and he's just got a great eye, and I trust him, and I wanted to bring in a different perspective. And he reminded me, he goes, I didn't know I needed what you have until I listened to you today, until I took this dive into your work. So I work with women, but this applies to all of us. The coming home to ourselves, what I have really, and knowing who we are, that enables us to do the bigger work. And if we could lead from that perspective, if each individual could do that work and lead from that perspective, it really just changed the way people lead and see others' humanity. And so it's just a reminder of like coming back home and reminding individuals that it starts with you. And before the big shifts in the world can happen, it starts with each of us individually in doing that work in ourselves. Okay, Kira, go ahead.
Okay, so this may or may not be a popular statement. You can ask some people in my family. I try as best as I can to be politically neutral. Doesn't mean I like what's going on or agree with what's going on or that I don't have an opinion, but I am somebody that on a daily, I deal with a lot of stress and I deal with a lot of anxiety, like internally. Mm-hmm. I have people in my family, people that I love on both sides of the coin. And so it doesn't matter who is the current president. There's always somebody in my family that has a whole lot to say about that person and about what's going on and about the state of the economy. And I have a strict no politics rule in my house. I mean, I've been on the borderline of throwing people out. I have gone in my bathroom and shut the door because I can't handle it when two people that I love go at each other's necks like that. I can't handle. And my mom, love my mom to pieces, but she is, she's 83 years old. She is so emotional about the state of the world. Her phone dings 24 hours a day with the latest thing that happened in this country or this state or this town. And she's crying all the time. And I've tried hard to have conversations with her that, look, Mom, I don't like bad things either. Bad things have been happening since the beginning of time, and bad things are going to happen until the end of time. It's what we do with them. I said, but you can't spend all your energy focusing on every single bad thing that's happening because you're never going to come up for air. And so I've hurt her feelings, and I did not meant to, but it's hard for me to see her cry so frequently. It's like, it's not that I don't know that there's so much bad out there, but I also know there's so much good out there. Yeah. And it's finding the balance, because I couldn't live my life that way. I could not be stressed and crying 24/7. I have to be able to embrace the good that I have, and to see the good that I have, and to see the opportunities that I have, and the ones that I have that I want. And it's not that I don't have empathy, and that I'm not going to try to do what I can do for my fellow man. Absolutely. But I'm a lot more better equipped to do that within my little area. I do volunteer work. I host missions. I have founded missions. I have been donating Bombas socks on behalf of Bombas for the last 10 years, thousands and thousands of socks. I take our chicken eggs to the soup kitchen and to the food pantry. These are areas that I can control. So am I fixing the world's problems? No, but I'm trying to do my part in a way that I can control without getting too ahead of myself, without getting to, oh my God, the world's problems are so big, I can't fix them. What am I going to do? We all have our corner. And if everybody worked in their corner, we'd see a lot of problems addressed. But it's hard. It's a hard dynamic. So yeah, that's about as deep political as I get. but
I think but even within that, you've set a boundary of like, listen, in my space, in my house, this is how we're going to function with each other. We're going to treat each other with kindness and respect. It also leaves you open to the stories that go, that's, for me, whenever I feel myself getting judgmental about anything, and I can be very judgmental, I'm very opinionated. My trick that I learned with I got to credit my therapist 6 years ago. She's like, I want you to, and it started with my own work, and I couldn't do this with others until I was willing to do it with myself, is, you all have heard me say it, curiosity coming in rather than the judgment. Like, I'm feeling very judgmental about this situation. Can I invite curiosity into the situation so I can reframe it and see it? Because if we don't stay fully resourced, if we allow all these things to steal our joy, and this is really where your work comes in, Lisa, we can simultaneously live with the angst of all that's going on, and what can we do in our corner, and also not. Joy is really an act and I did not coin this. This was from somebody much more famous, possibly Audre Lorde. I'm not going to get that right, but joy is an act of resistance against all the angst in the world. Like, you will not steal my joy. You would not steal my corners of a contentment. And also that refills me and resources me. Me just sitting here in angst all the time and crying and feeling hopeless does nothing to move the needle. And it's not the kind of life I want to. That's not how I don't want to move forward like that. And so holding the nuance of all of that. Our listener, the Silver Knight, will also put in, and also what Lisa is saying about surfacing things so we can heal them, and also focusing on all the great people doing great stuff right now that Kira commented on. This is an example of the nuances that exist. This is what I'm really talking about when I talk about layers. Lisa, did that help?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, everything has dovetailed, I feel, beautifully. And yes, Kira, that is like exactly what that's the sweet spot that we have to find, is like, how much do I have capacity to hold? And then making boundaries around that, because we're all going to have a different capacity. And then being so active in your flavor. We're all just beautiful little snowflakes. We're all individuals, and we're all going to have different contributions, and just knowing that you are filling yourself up, making your contribution, is exactly what the journey is, I think, for each of us. So yeah, I applaud all of that. It was like, get to the quote, if we all swept our own doorstep, the whole world would be clean. It's like, if we take care of what's going on within us and our immediate surroundings. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kira, to you. Any questions or thoughts for Lisa or Sveti?
You mentioned, Sveti, talking about missing the fireworks, and I honestly, I had to laugh. I mean, I spent the 4th of July. Now, we've been prepping prior to today. We did over the weekend. We had some catastrophes over the weekend but anyway, we wait to the last minute, I feel like. But I spent the afternoon on one of the kayaks in the middle of the pond, checking the water depth, because I'm trying to make perimeters. We bought this incredible water trampoline, is the new thing this year. Every year we try to get something new. We've already got a pontoon boat that has a water slide on it, and we also put a diving board on it this year. That was its own fiasco. But I'm out there on the pond checking water depths, and my husband's up there waiting. But, once upon a time when we were, I don't even know what the word is, crazier. We used to also do a 4th of July party here for friends and family. And then camp week would be like 3 weeks later. I don't know what we were thinking. We did it for a lot of years. And we'd have really, really nice fireworks over the pond. The last year we had it, we did the fireworks, and we had a mare, a horse, and it scared her so badly that she ran through the fence and took off. And we didn't even know she was missing for it was like a half an hour before we knew she was missing. So we found her about a mile down the road. It's pitch black because I live in the middle of nowhere. It's rural. So we're out there with flashlights trying to find this horse, who, by the way, is also going blind at the time. So we get her back home. She's all banged up, but she's alive. She's fine. She's well. So that was really the last year we did it. Because I'm like, okay, clearly we can't do fireworks anymore. So we lost her about a month ago. I had to have her put down. Mm-hmm. So now the only horse that's left is her son, and her son, I've had them for 17 years. So he's 17 years old because I got him when he was just a baby. And he, they're very people. They're like people. They mourn. They're herd animals. And my dad passed away a few weeks before she passed away. So my horse and I kind of have this little bond. It's like he lost his mom, I lost my dad, and we're both trying to figure out how to live without the other one. But anyway, so he's out here. He's all by himself now. He's the last horse. And we're laying in bed because we're old fogies, and we go to bed by 9, usually by 8. We actually have a thing called a bedtime bride bucket that's full of prizes. And if the grandkids go to bed quietly and let us sleep, they get a prize in the morning. I have no shame. It is the bedtime bride bucket, the BBB for short, and it worked. Even the 14-year-old can't wait to pick a prize in the morning. So anyway, we're in bed. It's barely dark. We're just falling asleep, and the fireworks start. And our neighbor across the road, I don't know, he's got a whole arsenal over there, and they just won't stop. And all I could think about is my poor horse out there. I'm like, he has got to be flipping out right now. And I can't get annoyed because we did it for years, but I was annoyed. So my husband made the first check on Indy, and he says, yeah, he's very on alert, but he's okay. And I'm like, okay. And I checked on him the next morning. But yeah, it stinks. That's where I've come to. That's what I think about with fireworks right now. Am I going to have a horse that's loose in the middle of the night? So this year,
Wow.
no loose horses. It was a good year.
Oh my,
Success.
oh my gosh.
It was a good year.
Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, no, my dog, when I was growing up, also did not like the fireworks either. So you like them, but then how do they affect the environment? So obviously
Yeah.
not in a positive way. So
Oh my gosh.
it's a bit
Yeah.
like,
And again, we're back to the layers and the nuance.
yeah.
I'm telling you what. Yeah, but she's talking fireworks. I'm over here going, yeah. I was not missing them this year.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's interesting. Everybody knows how California deals with wildfires every year. And so after last summer's fires, they really clamped down, like big time, like $1,000 fines, and they're actually enforcing them like around all over. And so where you can have them is there was a palpable difference this year from the previous 2 years, like huge difference in what I heard and saw happening in my neighborhood and around versus people took it seriously. So there's these contained areas that you can go to. That's it. We've predetermined, we've okayed them, we've blessed them. That's it. And I heard 2 fireworks go off the night before July 3rd, whereas the previous 2 years, people were shooting off fireworks in our neighborhood. And we got trees all over the place. I'm just like, oh my God. And it gets, it's hot here in the summertime and it's dry and it doesn't rain here in the summertime. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh. This year, for 2 on Friday night, that was it. Either somebody came and shut them down or they just decided they were done or that's all they had, whatever it was. So yeah, palpable difference. But we have my sister-in-law and her wife have friends who come down from San Francisco and stay with them in their very quiet little alcove in the Monterey Peninsula with their dogs to get them away from the city and all the noise, because their dogs, it's just lose their minds. So yeah, it's the ebb and flow. Our friend Silver Nightingale had some great comments here. What you said about joy is resistance, Melissa. This is where we can really respect and follow the leadership of Black people who learned how to do this during enslavement and show us how. How can we get discouraged when we see what they did to sing and dance and have joy under the worst possible circumstances? Wow. Thank you for those. That's really amazing. That's really such a beautiful authentic perspective. Thank you so much for that. All right, Sveti, do you have any questions for Kira or Lisa?
So I was trying to frame it in a way because mentality has been top of mind for me now since I've had the conversation with the lady on Saturday, and just that the strong and positive mentality, like how I feel like I've heard a lot of people being drained of energy to continue to have a strong mentality. And so I think my question is overall, like, how do we keep our energy so that can transfer into a continue to be a strong mentality, so we can continue to be hopeful for the future. So I think that's what's happening right now, is because of all the uncertainty. And, my new friend that I met Saturday, she was just like, I love what you're saying about the US, and I can see it with you, that you're a lot more positive than I am. I was just like, but how do I do this? Like, how do I have that energy that you have? And how do, and I was thinking, I was like, I don't have a specific answer for her.
Yeah.
Like, how do we keep our energy, or how do we get that energy so we can have that strong mentality? Go ahead, Lisa. Yeah.
Lisa is ready for this.
I talk about this all the time. Yes, because I
really
see so many in our country, like Kira's precious mom, who just are like so bogged down by the atrocities that we're witnessing. There's no denying that they're just like absolute horrible human atrocities occurring in our country. And that can be such a drag on our energy. And we complain on social media and we complain to our friends and we cry and we feel hopeless. Doing something, whatever it is, whether it's making the phone calls, joining some activism groups. Some people like to march, some people like to just stay, behind the scenes. But any little thing that you do to be part of the solution, I find just like we do this in my Joy School, people can't believe it. Like just taking the smallest action leads you to feel a little better, and take a bigger action and take a bigger action, and aligning with groups of people who are taking action, even if the absolute solution and remedy seems so impossible. Just knowing that you're part of bringing that, I think, is what really energizes and keeps you positive, because you don't want to feel like you're doing that for nothing. So you have to believe in that vision, that holding that vision of a better society that we're creating. For me, that's action.
Mm-hmm.
Action is the key.
And my mother does marches 100%. Even if it's in a little teeny tiny town up in Maine, she's out there with a handful of other people. So
I think too, for me, it's also, I keep taking people back to this, those, I always tell women, name those 5 activities that nourish you. Make room for those, prioritize those. For me, I get the joy of getting to go to the ocean a lot, because I've got family that lives over there, and it's 2.5 hours away, and I can get there whenever I want to. And so right now in this season, that brings me a lot of joy. Ocean walks, sticking my feet in the ocean, just listening to the sounds of it cleanses me. It settles my nervous system. On Saturday, we have a pool. I'm very fortunate we have a pool. So on Saturday afternoon, before going off to the baseball game and all that stuff that we did, I laid in the pool and I played my favorite music, and I just let the sun rest on my face and felt the water and settled. So what are those, sometimes, some days it's journaling when I'm just like, need to get the words out, making room for those things that personally fill your cup, so you can go out and operate from a full space. And also it allows you those moments of joy, those moments to settle and rest, those moments of contentment. And we have to get rid of this idea, there's so much bad in the world, I can't feel good. No, that's what the bad wants you to think. The bad wants you to live there, because when you live there, you're getting hopeless. Absolutely not. We have to actually be willing and find the places that bring us joy, just for joy's sake, just for fun. I'm going to the ocean today and breathe it in. No one's getting better for this except for me. My family would argue they get better for it because I'm in a better mood after being there. So maybe your circle does win, really, truly. But the world wins, because now I've got the energy to come on with you beautiful people and have this conversation. I've got the energy tomorrow morning to do an Empowerment Tuesday conversation to remind people of, we're talking about summer body expectations tomorrow. We know that's a loaded topic for women. We're going to talk about that and bring hope into the conversation and find our freedom within it. So for me, Sveti, it's that you do it by honoring yourself with this travel and the people you meet. Like your stories, I could listen to you all day. Talk about the people. I mean, every time Sveti's on, I'm like, oh my God, I love this one. Because she brings in these stories and the people that she runs into around the world. And it reminds me of the stories that I run into, the people I've met on trains over the years, riding along the Mediterranean that I would have never known. These hopeful, 20-somethings we met on our ride between Pisa and Genoa one time as they were coming home from a friend's wedding, and they were asking us what it was like to be in the U.S. at this time. This was under the first administration of this current era we're in, and just hearing from them and hearing their stories of hope and what they're doing next. And I'll never see them again. But what an enriching conversation that was for that hour and a half period that I got to share with them. So I think that, for you, when people ask you that question, it's like, I get to see the uniqueness of humanity every day. But it really comes back, we can't all travel like Sveti, and that's not all of our calling. Come back home to your values. What are your values? Right. Live your line in alignment with those values, and make space to fill your cup with those activities that nourish you. And that allows you to keep moving.
Yeah. And I wanted to tell her that it's not impossible. I feel like with most people, they say, oh, and I've heard this quite a bit. It's like, oh, but Sveti, that's you. That's because you're brave, and that's because you're courageous, and you know, you have balls of steel, and you know, I've heard all types of all types of stuff. And I said, like, guys, I took small actions, and then just continued to stay in alignment with who I am and what I want to do. That's that. Like, I'm not a genius. I'm not that brave. Like, really.
Yeah.
And that's what I was telling her too. And and it's about most people just believing in themselves again.
And believing that you have a choice. You get to choose. You can choose to be that person you want to be. And it's that one small thing that feels doable. But you not losing, like, I don't have that. You know, that not being courageous. And I had to discover this for myself. I had a real, like, come to Jesus, come to God, come to the universe moment when I was about 47 years old, where I really just stopped in my tracks. I'm like, I should be more content, more fulfilled than I am. My life on paper versus how I feel is not matching up. Why? And that led to the bigger and deeper questions. I still had to hit the ridiculous wall a couple of years later, 3 years later, but I was in process. I had made moves before that to get there. And so it's that one choice we make for ourselves each day. And you can do that.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a favorite word. It's like you guys keep circling all the way around it. But do you remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books? Does anybody remember those?
I do.
So my favorite word is 2 letters. It's if. Because if can turn into so many good things or so many bad things. It's like if turns into whatever we add to it, you know? And so it's like a baby step. You can add just a few words to that to take that first step, or you can add just a few words to that to discourage yourself from taking that first step. You know, if I decide to take this first step tomorrow, then what could happen? Or if I decide, no, I'm going to wait another day. I mean, it just has so much power for 2 letters, you know, and it's just a place to start. It's just, yeah. It's my favorite word. One of these days I'll put it somewhere on the body. I don't know. But yeah.
Instead of the doors, it'll be if.
It'll say if, yeah. Yes, I don't need to tattoo Jim Morrison, but if I could put somewhere.
I love that. And it's another example of, it's not about the size of a word or the size of something. It's about the capacity.
There's a possibility that exists.
Yes.
In 2 letters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. That was so good. Oh my gosh. All right, ladies. I love these come as you are conversations. I never know what's coming, and it's always wonderful. It's always magical. I always leave it feeling fulfilled and ready for the week. So as we wrap this one up, we're going to go back to Lisa. Lisa, one last thought and where people can find and follow you.
Oh, thank you. I'll start with the easy part. It's just my name. LisaMcCourt.com is where my Joy School is. I used to have podcasts and radio shows. Some old episodes of those are there, but I don't have that anymore. And any live events are always at LisaMcCourt.com. My final thought, I think, would be just to try to keep that awareness of microcosm, macrocosm. We've talked a lot about what's going on in the world, and you spoke to this briefly, Melissa, that how it really all starts with us within. You know, Kira talked about keeping her own doorstep clean, and just, I think the more we can hang on to that, the more we can stay in that optimistic, joyful spot that Sveti's been reminding us Americans are supposed to embody. It's just like microcosm, macrocosm. We are, in the grand scheme of things, moving humanity forward, even when it feels like we're sliding backwards. Thanks for being here today. All good to be with you.
Oh, you too. All right, Kira, how about you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. And you know, I love the whole Joy School thing, because one of my other favorite expressions is to choose joy. And so if you wake up with that intention every day, no matter what happens today, I'm going to choose joy, because you know there is so much to be thankful for, and so much opportunity. Yeah. I mean, I think all of us started with a vision and we all pushed through it. I mean, we're all very different people, but we all got to a place where we're also feeling very content. Not every day, not every second, but we have found ourselves. And at least at 58, that's huge for me. So yeah, just keep taking steps forward. I do not have a fancy web page because I'm much too busy getting ready for camp for that. I do have an author page on Facebook, which is under Kira Hartley Klinger. LinkedIn is also under Kira Hartley Klinger. You can find me on Instagram under .oddity, which is also my Etsy store name. Or you can just have a lot of fun with it and Google my name, and you can find me all over the place. So I'm really good at tagging things. Oh my gosh, it's my husband's favorite thing to do. Let's just say, tag my wife. Go ahead, just do it. Like Google her, do it. And so anyway.
It's like a game. Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
It is. It's like I'm holding my breath for that one bad thing that finds me, so that starts popping up when somebody goes. That's like, no, don't Google me. Don't. But for right now, it's kind of fun. But yeah. Anyway,
I love that. So good. All right, Sveti, how about you?
Yeah. Well, just to add, like, so hopefully Google doesn't show up with like your like AI, your face on someone else's body or something. Like,
I'm waiting for something weird to happen. I really am, because AI messes so much up right now. I don't even know where to begin. So it's coming.
Yeah, who knows? Like, I was like, oh yeah. Anyways, yes. So Sveti Rue, I do have a fancy website. Sorry.
Oh, congratulations.
She doesn't have any grandkids coming this weekend.
No,
she's not even old enough to have them.
I mean, getting up there, but some people in other countries, and my age.
It's
but
true.
Anyways, yeah. So some people have kids and grandkids very, very young. Yes. So Sveti Rue, SvetiRue.com. Also, you can find me on Instagram is the same thing. YouTube, the same thing. Sveti Rue. I also am. So I was telling Melissa and the rest of the girls that I am coming up with a photo book. So the all the travel photos that I have, and then the photo book with stories along with a guide to have. It's called 21 acts of small acts of courage. And so that's exactly what we were talking about, is just taking those small acts. And that's what I have for everyone listening today, is that if we can just focus on what we can control, those small actions that we can take to fill up our energies, to fill up our joy, and that's going to help with all this uncertainty that we're all feeling. It just live and preserve our energies. And so it's all on the websites.
I cannot wait for that. I'm so excited for that. Thank you so much. The timing of that, so beautiful. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. The Silver Nightingale, thanks so much for participating in your wonderful comments that added to this conversation. That's a great reminder of people. You can listen live. You can listen later. This is on our YouTube channel. You can listen whenever you want, but you can listen live and you can share your experiences and your comments. And she just commented, thanks so much. This was good. I love women sharing wisdom. So do we. That's literally why we do this. That's literally why we're here. So thank you so much for being part of this today, so you can be part of the conversation with us. So have a wonderful week. Take good care of yourselves. And remember that you are worthy, you are valuable, and you get to choose. We'll see you next Monday here on Together We Feel.